Hi, my name is Laura Cole. I'm an assistant professor of architectural studies at the University of Missouri. Now, I study green buildings and the potential for green buildings to support innovative and interdisciplinary types of environmental education. In this video, I will expand the topic to the greater infrastructure of cities to ask, how can urban green infrastructure be used in urban environmental education? I will start by contrasting unsustainable and sustainable strategies in cities, and then devote the second half to talk about ways we can leverage green infrastructure for educational purposes. Now, think about it. Many of us traverse city streets and buildings daily, and we learn what is normal through these daily experiences. In large part, our cities are showcases for unsustainability. So let's talk through a few examples. For example, the light pollution of an overly lit city teaches us that energy need not be conserved. A sizable engineered concrete stormwater drain teaches us that nature can be dominated and controlled. Grassy lawns and exotic plantings, they teach us that the generous use of water and pesticides is acceptable. And vast landscapes of asphalt parking teach us that ugliness is just part of life. Now contrast these common features of cities with the concept of green infrastructure. Green infrastructure can be defined as a network of human-managed and natural ecosystems that together enhance the ecosystem health, resilience, contribute to biodiversity, and benefit human populations through the maintenance and enhancement of ecosystem services. What does that look like? Let's discuss green infrastructure solutions for the issues I just named. So, first of all, we can design city streetlights to emit light only towards the ground where it is needed, instead of up at the sky where it disrupts wildlife and has other kinds of consequences. In regard to stormwater management, we can decrease pavement and design features like bioswales into the landscape. So in contrast with concrete drains, these nature-based solutions promote a more natural hydrological cycle through cities. And finally, parking lots. They can be better designed with permeable pavement and trees, and even better, we can try to eliminate parking needs by promoting alternative modes of transit. These are just a few ways that cities can incorporate green infrastructure into the landscape to promote a more harmonious relationship between human settlements and their surrounding environments. So how does all of this connect to urban environmental education? In my research on green buildings, I learned that students who use green buildings daily are vaguely aware of their building's green features. However, without formal environmental education, that awareness does not solidify into green building knowledge. Likewise, I would not expect students to have any kind of in-depth understanding of their city's infrastructure without the help of environmental educators. The first step, therefore, is to use the infrastructure of our cities for place-based education. For example, consider the Urban Ecology Center at Riverside Park in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. This center showcases a green building, solar power station, public art, urban wasteland being transformed into a park, a riparian habitats, classrooms, a climbing wall, all of which are intended to improve visitors' environmental experiences and knowledge. So educational efforts such as these, they're rich in their ability to string together many disciplines like civil engineering, landscape architecture, building design. So schools can seek even deeper ways to get students involved with green infrastructure by initiating projects and partnerships on local infrastructure issues. We can find, for an example, an inspiring story from the Bronx in New York City, where high school students collaborated with nonprofit organizations to design a concept plan for greenways along urban rivers and streets. Another type of project that can involve students in the design of their own schoolyard. A participatory design process to design landscape features in the schoolyard. It can integrate lessons of art, architecture, ecology, and so on. So, the first big idea is to increase environmental education for green infrastructure. The second big idea I would like to discuss is environmental education for the broader public, beyond the school system. Imagine the possibility for designing sustainable cities that created an entirely new daily experience for the public. Imagine that our cities could become models for sustainability instead of unsustainability. Imagine what would happen if environmental educators were more deeply involved in the design of our cities. What would this look like? we can already see sustainable strategies in cities that point the way. Bike lanes, gardens ready for growing vegetables, green buildings open for tours. Cities are already providing green infrastructure projects that can become dynamic examples of sustainability woven into the daily life of citizens. So in this way, green infrastructure acts as a stage for informal environmental education as people spontaneously engage hands-on with green infrastructure projects. So, for example, many community-based education restoration organizations in the U.S. offer canoeing in restored urban waterways for residents to rediscover local recreation opportunities, and this could potentially raise support for urban open spaces, as an example. So, there are two major takeaways in this lecture. The first is that green infrastructure provides potent educational opportunities inside and outside the classroom. The second point is that we need to see more green infrastructure in cities around the world, and urban environmental educators can play a critical role in fostering support for these kinds of projects. Beyond that, my dream is that environmental educators play an increasing role in the design of cities, so that as we move to solve tough technical environmental problems, we are simultaneously addressing the social dimensions of greening our infrastructure. Thank you.